I'm a 20-year-old who plays poker. Over the next month, I'm going to be challenging myself to play high stakes to see if I can compete against the pros or if I'm clearly outmatched.
Once again, put into an ugly spot. Yeah, that was bad.
So I spent the last week in Houston playing high stakes, and it didn't go very well.
All in a snap call and a $9,700 pot going to Z-World.
Things didn't go my way, but that's never stopped me before. We're gonna keep battling big games and continue on our road trip, but all I need is a little change of scenery. I drove all the way from Houston to Miami. Because I'm under 21, the only two spots I can play a lot of games is Texas and Florida. And we're gonna be in Florida for the next 3 weeks, playing at the Hard Rock Casino. It's a massive place with tons of cash games. Some people think that the 5-10 game here is one of the tougher games in the country. And I wanna see if that's true. So, this whole trip, we're going to be playing the 5-10 game. It's a $2,500 max buy-in, and I've played games of this size before, but not consistently. This game is probably a little bit too big for my bankroll, but what's life without a little risk? Come on. We sit down at the game feeling fresh and ready to battle. Within the first 5 minutes, we peel pocket kings. There's a raise to 20 and a call, and then a re-raise to 100. Before I can even order a coffee, I'm trying to figure out how I can get a double up with kings. I 4-bet to $350. It's now back on the player who made it 100, and he 5-bets to 850. Usually when a player does this, it's only one hand. But we're not playing your local 1-2 game. These are good players who can have other hands here like ace-king, pocket queens. Kings is just too good of a hand. I go all in. And of course, our opponent calls. This is a situation where we're either way behind or way ahead. We agree to run it 2 times, and he shows us ace-king. We're a big favorite. The first flop comes clean, but there's an ace on the second one. The run out bricks, and we're going to split this pot. I know that chop pots aren't the most exciting thing in the world, but when I sat down in the first few minutes, it definitely got my blood pumping. Then we play a series of a few hands. We re-raise king jack to 300, and the player calls. The flop comes king 4-3 with 2 spades. We have top pair and bet out for 200. Then the opponent raises to 550, and we call. The camera stopped recording, but the hand plays on. The turn is a 10, and he checks back. The river's a 7, and I decide to put out a very small block bet of $350. But it doesn't take him long to call with king queen. He had us dominated the whole way, and we're gonna lose a $2,300 pot. In this game, pots of that size are normal. A $2,500 pot in this game is equivalent to a $200 pot in 1-2. You just have to change your mindset, and if the size of the pot is changing your game, then you probably shouldn't be playing. We got lucky with this one. We called a raise preflop with ace-5, and it checked down to the river. We made trips. A player leads out for 180 on the river. We raise to 700 and get called. She flopped top 2 pair, and we sucked out for a nice pot. Sometimes poker is boring, sometimes it's exciting. You just gotta ride the wave. Tonight, the game wasn't incredibly exciting. After about 7 hours, the game dries up, and we call it a night. After all, we are here for the next month, so I'm just going to highlight the best moments from each session. We lost a total of $505 in the 5-10 game. We also lost a little bit playing 2-5 while we waited for our 5-10 seat. For some reason, I can never break a profit when I play lower stakes before a bigger game. But that's a wrap for the first session. So during this high stakes grind, I had a few goals in mind to help me get into a routine and perform my best on the tables. Number 1, taking care of myself, getting outside, eating well, sleeping well. Prioritizing these 3 things every single day will help you play much better. 2, mental game. This one is very important because I have to realize that I can lose like 20,000 in this game in just a span of a few days. I'm being aggressive with my bankroll, only 30 buy-ins, which is more aggressive than I really ever have been. I've accepted that things can go poorly, and that's okay. I just have to focus on playing my best. 3 is to constantly improve, reviewing hands with friends, going over spots, watching videos, constantly studying and improving, making sure my game is sharp. Along with all of that, just putting a bunch of hours on the table and making sure that I'm still having fun doing all of this, because that's very important. Now we're on to the second session. So we get to the casino, sit down at the table, and it's mainly just the regulars playing. Definitely not the most profitable game to play, but we're here to play this game. We're here to battle, so let's go.
Pretty early on, we have pocket 10s and we re-raise to 200, and then another player comes in for another raise to 650. This is a very strong play, and now pocket 10s don't really look so good. They should probably just fold, because even if we flop an overpair to the board, we're going to be behind a lot of his bigger pairs like aces, kings, and queens. Of course, I don't listen to my own advice ever, so I call. It's funny how that works, but we see a flop of 9-7-3 and call a bet of 500 on the flop. This is what I'm talking about here. We could be drawing very slim against a lot of his hands. The turn comes an ace. We end up checking it down and losing to pocket kings. So
we could have saved about $1,000 just by folding pre-flop, and that's definitely a mistake by me.
now we have ace king with top pair. After we re-raised pre-flop to 200 and they called, we threw out a c-bet for 125. They put in the call and the turn comes a brick. It's very unlikely that we're going to be beat here, so I put out another bet of $550, and I'm looking to go all in on a lot of rivers that don't change the board. My opponent in this hand is a very good European pro. I remember him from the last time that I was here, and he always puts me in tough spots. And that's what he does right here. He check jams all in for 1800. I'm not sure if this actually is a tough spot because he's trying to tell me that he has a strong hand now after he didn't raise me on the flop. So if he has pocket jacks or king jack, we just have to accept the fact that we would lose the hand. So I call pretty quickly and we're going to run it twice. The first river comes a queen, the second river comes a deuce, and he shows queen 10 for an open-ended straight draw on the turn, and he doesn't get there. We're going to win a $4,400 pot. And against a very good player like this guy, those don't come around very often. It's a pretty tough table, and it looks like the game is going to break pretty soon. One of my biggest problems when I play live is calling too many rivers. We have top pair on this board, and the player in the big blind bet the flop, bet the turn, and now bet the river for $750. And I think in spots like this, I give my opponents too much credit in terms of finding hands to bluff. And after some back and forth, I just decided to flick in the call. And of course, we're beat. He shows us top two pair. And once again, I'm just punished by calling the river.
I'm not super happy with the way that I played today. Looking back at a couple of those spots, we could have saved a lot of money by just folding, and we would have broke a nice profit for the session. Now, I don't really want to dwell on these mistakes or regret them. I just want to learn from them and make sure that I don't make the same mistake twice going forward. Because obviously the goal of this is to make more money, so we gotta lock in.
Hey, yo, y'all can't stand right here. In his right hand was your man's worst nightmare.
Walking back into the Hard Rock, just prepping you guys for this session. This is one of my favorites from the trip, and definitely a crazy game.
One of the keys to becoming a winning poker player is being aggressive. Winning lots of pots without the best hand, but of course being cautious because it can bite back pretty hard. I decide to be aggressive here and re-raise King 7 of Hearts when the button opens to $75. And the player directly to my left puts in the call. It's just us going to the flop, and we're going to have to do some work to win this one when it comes to Jack 4-3 with one heart. We don't have anything. We're going to act like we have something. I bet $225, and he pretty quickly puts in the call. The turn is one of the best cards we could see. It's the 6 of Hearts. Now we have a flush draw and a straight draw. I can play this hand one of two ways. Keep betting with all of my outs and hope to hit something on the river, or get sneaky and check, and if he bets, go for a check raise bluff all in. I decide with the second option and start with the check, and he does want to put in a bet. He makes it $380, and I take a peek over at his stack. There's only $1,200 total. I go all in, covering him for $1,200, and he starts to look pretty uncomfortable, which is a great thing for us. And he takes a while. I think it was maybe more than 3 minutes in the tank, but he finally folds. We take it down just king high, and we get one through with the power of aggression. Next, we look down at a real hand. Pocket queens. The player first to act raises to $75. His name is Skylar, and little did I know it right now, but over the course of this whole trip, we'd play some pretty wild pots. I re-raised to $225, and it gets back to Skylar. This is the first hand that I've played against him, so I don't have any history with the way that he plays, but he puts in another raise, $625. This is a very strong play, especially in live games. In these positions, he should be doing this with a very tight range, but queens is obviously too good to fold. I put in the 625, and we go to a flop which isn't so great. King 10-3. Now we're beat by Ace King, which was a large portion of his range that we were ahead of. He puts out a small bet of 300, and it might seem crazy to fold pocket queens here, but if we think he's doing this very tight, Perhaps he has a hand like ace-5 suited or ace-10 suited every once in a while, but a good player like Skylar's not going to give those hands up on the turn, so after this we're likely going to face another bet and just have to fold. I'm thinking about yesterday's session and how I should have just let it go in a few spots. I go with my gut and just fold here. He's nice enough to let me pick one of his cards to show, and he flips over the ace of hearts, so he probably had pocket aces or ace-king, but no, he shows me a deuce. Maybe he wasn't raising as tight as I thought he was there.
But one thing's for certain, Skylar. We're coming back for those chips.
Now the game's starting to get a little bit wild. A player calls 25, there's a raise to 125, and we re-raise ace-king to 400. Very standard so far, but now the player who called the 25 goes all in for 2,500. The old limp rejam. This is normally going to be aces or kings, but this particular player has been playing a lot of hands, and he's shown some pretty crazy bluffs, so the other player folds, and I very quickly put in the call here. I'm not sure if we're ahead or behind, but we're running it one time with over $5,000 in the middle. The flop comes jack 7-3, we still don't have anything, but the turn is a king. The river's a little dicey, it's a queen, and he flips over a hand that I would never expect him to have. Queen Jack offsuit. I guess this guy was crazier than we thought. We got unlucky there, but we can't let that influence the rest of our session.
We played another big hand against this guy about 10 minutes later.
It's basically a repeat of the last hand. We raised to 225, and now he goes all in again. How can we fold pocket tens here when the guy showed Queen Jack offsuit last hand? If I call and lose, I'll be down $4,400 this session, but if I win, I'll be up a few hundred. I can't bring myself to fold against a player who can probably have anything. Let's gamble. Let's go. We were flipping against ace-king. He did have a real hand this time, but we held up. I guess ace-king is just no good at this table. We keep the momentum going when we re-raise pocket nines to $375 and 3 players call. This game is getting pretty good. The flop comes all jacks, and being the first player to act with 4 players in the hand, I decide to start with a check. It checks around, the turn is a low card, and we end up stacking a short stack for $400. With pocket nines holding up, we scoop a $2,300 pot, and we're up over $2,500 on the session, but the night's not over yet. The big hands just keep coming. We look down at ace-king.
Back when I played 1-2 and I was up a lot in a session, sometimes I would just want to open fold ace-king. It sounds crazy, but this hand can get you in some trouble. Obviously not anymore. The goal is to play each hand the same exact way. If you're up 10,000 or down 10,000, each hand is a blank slate.
You guys remember Skylar from earlier? He opens to $100 in this hand. We re-raise to 300, and the guy that we've been all in with twice, who could probably have any 2 cards, he puts in 300 as well. And now Skylar decides to put in another raise. He makes it 1,050. He has about 3,500 total in his stack, and we know that he's capable of doing this as a bluff. Because the other guy called with probably a weaker hand, there's more incentive for Skylar to do this as a bluff to take down the dead money. My options are either call or go all in. I'm not going to fold this one, but if we call and miss the flop, there's already going to be so much in the middle that we probably won't fold anyway. This might be a little bit of an overplay with ace-king, but I go all in for 3,500, trusting my gut that maybe he's doing this a little too light. The other guy folds quickly, and now Skylar is in the tank. We don't get snap called, which means that he doesn't have aces or kings, and if he's thinking this long, he probably has a hand like ace-king, pocket queens, or pocket jacks. After a while, he flicks his cards in the middle and folds, and we make $1,400 without even seeing a flop. I'll take it.
It's approaching about 2 in the morning, and the game looks like it's gonna break relatively soon, but we play one last hand. Famous last words, I know, but let's go.
I raised 9-8 suited to 75, and Skylar re-raises to $325 from the big blind. I told you me and him would be battling a lot this trip. We have position and a suited connector. I put in the call. The flop is a pretty big whiff for us. It's king 7-4, there's 1 diamond on the board. We have nothing, but there's a lot of turn cards that could give us a straight or a flush draw. So when he bets out for 200, we could call here and try to spike one of those cards on the turn, or we could start bluffing and just try to take it down now. You already know what I'm gonna do. Maybe this is too aggressive of a move, but I raised to $550. After he bluffed me with ace deuce earlier, I've been waiting to get a spot to bluff him and show him my cards, but he doesn't shy away that quickly. He calls. Once he calls the flop, I'm pretty much looking to give up unless we turn like a straight flush draw or something. And yeah, the turn is the Jack of Diamonds. Pretty much the best card we could ever see. When he checks to me, there's a little over $1,700 in the pot, and he has $2,000 behind. This might not be a very credible line, but I have a straight flush draw and go all in for $2,000. He doesn't think very long this time before calling, maybe 15 seconds or so, and we're gonna need to get lucky here. A diamond or a 10. We decided to run it twice on the river.
We were up almost $4,500 before this hand, and now we find ourselves in a $6,000 pot, needing to get lucky to win.
The first river is a red queen, but it's a heart, and the second river is the 3 of clubs. We don't improve. We have 9 high, and I don't believe my eyes when I see his hand. He has ace 10. He called us with just ace high. I don't even know what to say. An absolutely insane call.
Skylar, if you're watching this, you're a sick man. That was a sick call, dude. And you're making me rethink my entire life. I successfully dusted off about 3,000 in that hand. We still broke a profit, but not as much as I had hoped. It definitely makes you feel like an idiot when you get sold red with ace high in a huge pot, but I don't know. Was it really that obvious that I was bluffing? Was I too aggressive on that hand? That one's gonna stick with me for a while.